we're gonna talk about racism. All right,
This is so much fun.
It's not. It is fun.
I'm kidding.
It isn't. It's fun to call out people
Yeah.
who think that they're being all virtuous when in reality they're being racist.
Totally.
And that's basically what all of it is.
Oh, yeah.
It's these people that think that minorities need help.
You know who came up with the
They
term?
need a pat on the head. Oh, you need some help because you're not of this skin color. Like, that's basically what it is.
And it's any kind. It could be, socioeconomic discrepancies made for no other reason than pet causes are needed for a political fight, and so pet causes are requiring pets. So they start to indoctrinate people into believing that they're part of some controlled ideology. Do you know where the word racism comes from?
What?
Trotsky. Straight up, look it
Go
up.
on.
Trotsky created the word racism, and it had to do with the idea of, that these people, these pan-Slavics, were missing the point because they were trying to create a nationalist state when really we should be creating an ideological state. So racism is a problem because it's uniting nationalism, it's uniting too many people. It's a false idea, though.
And we can't have people be united.
No.
No. Divide and conquer. That's what they need.
Unless they're united by Marxism.
Ah,
as
right.
Trotsky was thinking.
Goodness sakes. Okay, so the first thing I want to show is a bill that Senator Cruz brought to the House or to the Senate, and here it is. It's S-937 to prohibit federal funding for any institution of higher education that discriminates against Asian Americans for recruitment, applicant review, or admissions, because they tend to have higher scores. It just happens to be. And for me, I'm all about meritocracy. Yeah. I want the people who earn it to get in, not be reduced to skin color or other things along those lines that you can't change. And look at this. Every single Republican voted, yeah, that's a good idea. And I agree. And look, every single Democrat said, nay, not a good idea.
Well, there you go.
That systemic racism.
Yeah, literally.
Look at that.
Literally engineered racism. Engineered.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
Bureaucratically, we've laid out a new road that will then hire people based on or not based on. What is it? Is it based on their skills? No, we're talking about literally what they look like and what box they check.
Democrats are like, whoa. We need to be able to discriminate against these Asian Americans because they're too smart and they're getting all the positions in higher education. These other people, these minorities, can't get in because they don't have the test scores. And it's like, okay,
aren't we supposed to be elevating
Shouldn't
people?
we be trying to get them to have the test scores and earn it?
Why are we bringing people down? Why are we trying to bring everyone down? If we find anyone who's starting to make it out of the trapezoid, out of that pyramid scheme, then we try to bring them down. Aren't we supposed to be trying to uplift? Shouldn't we be bringing everyone up?
I agree.
It's pretty crazy.
Definitely. Look at this. The Jim Henson Company.
Disney.
People are freaking out because the Jim Henson Company on May 12th sent this tweet out. The Jim Henson, who's a white man, by the way.
Well, he's dead now. It's Disney owns it now.
Okay, he was a white man.
Yeah. Okay.
Jim Henson Company.
Yeah.
Okay, headquarters in Los Angeles is seeking top talent and new creative voices from diverse communities and backgrounds to train as puppeteers in the Jim Henson technique. Please see posted images for complete submission guidelines. And you see here, currently seeking members of the LGBTQ, people of color, women of all cultural backgrounds. And the internet is awash with just, well, what about if you're a straight white guy that really has been trying to work at Jim Henson your whole life?
Wait a while. You'll be a minority very soon. Don't worry.
Whoa.
In fact,
what does that mean? What are you trying to say?
Well, all right. Let's think of a second, though, about this, because I hate that we're calling this the Jim Henson Company. I mean, I know legally
it's Disney.
We legally have to because Disney owns it. But let's go back and see how this started, which was Jim Henson made deals to make commercials in the 60s where he said, I will own my puppets.
Okay.
You can have this 30-second, whatever, but I want to own my puppets afterwards, which led to Disney buying it from him while he was dying of cancer. So if you really look at the Jim Henson story, it's a tragedy.
That sounds tough.
What Disney's done to the Muppets and to everything, it's terrifying beyond the fact that he died the way he did. But
I just find it interesting that it's a puppet.
Yeah.
So what does skin color have to do with it?
Well, you saw
all.
You saw Elmo met a puppet who identified as a person of color, right?
But that's still a puppet,
right?
It's a puppet.
Well, but puppets
you've got your hand up their butt,
Well,
making them talk.
puppets are really the best. I mean, you think about Mr. Rogers. He used puppets to communicate, you know.
But they were puppets still.
But it's therapy.
A puppeteer you don't see the person.
Right.
So what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's also never been a problem for, like, for instance, Elmo was done by a black puppeteer. Like,
Okay.
I mean, a lot of the puppeteers were not white males. There's a few, Big Bird, you know, for sure.
Okay.
But, like, there's a lot that weren't. And
Wait, Big Bird was not a person of color?
no, he was, you know, a Caucasian, you know, as they say.
Canceled.
Yeah, essentially. You know, he almost
Cancel Big Bird, everyone.
they almost put him on the rocket ship. I mean, imagine that would have been a quick way to get rid of him, I guess.
Jeez.
Yeah, but like now you look at like what the Muppets are, and they're in, you know, they started out like Oscar the Grouch was orange and he was kind of brown, and they made him green because they were like, the point of this is that we're all persons of color. We're all Pink Floyd.
Yeah, they were all different colors.
Right.
The Muppets, right?
Yeah, and so now what we're doing is we're acknowledging the social hierarchy from the past that we were trying to avoid so hard. We were trying to build a new world.
Yes.
Jim Henson's whole thing was he created Fraggle Rock because he said, okay, after the Muppets, that's not good enough. After Sesame Street, that's not good enough. I want to end the Cold War. I want to unite the Soviet Union with the United States. And he created Fraggle Rock.
What a cool... Fraggle Rock was awesome.
What a crazy goal, too.
Do you guys remember Fraggle Rock? How many people out there remember Fraggle Rock?
Dude, please do.
Very cool. Very cool.
One of the best shows ever. And literally the goal of it was to end the idea of the Soviet Union and the United States having a Cold War with each other.
Bring the mic up so you're not...
yeah. Better.
So you don't have to, like...
Fair
change.
enough. I like getting down in that like Jim Henson mode.
No, you're good. You're good.
But yeah, no, I mean, he wanted to unite people based on all of their differences.
Yeah, yeah.
And so this is kind of weird because, like we talked about last time, this idea of being unique and being different is no longer the goal of this alternative. Instead, they want you to all wear this, the same Doc Martens and have the same rainbow flag, but you have to have the same flag.
Yeah.
And so it becomes this uniformity. It becomes to conserve the values of the 1970s gay pride movement.
Yeah.
Which is like, imagine you have LGBT conservatives now, right? Neoconservatives.
They do exist.
That's what it is.
Those people exist.
Imagine all the people.
Yeah. I imagine. So look, even in Doctor Strange, or even when WandaVision, Doctor Strange was supposed to be in it, and like in the original story, I guess he was. And Kevin Feige actually came out and was saying he was cut from WandaVision because he's white and a male.
Yeah.
And in a different article, I found that he basically said, well, you know, it just... the last episode to like bring in Doctor Strange and be like, I'm a white guy, let me show you power. And it's like, but it's Doctor Strange. That's like that's the story. Like, you're changing the story to try to appease these people and adhere to that.
I could creatively written an interesting Doctor Strange scene. They took it out. This is textbook censorship.
Yeah.
This is when the Soviet Union had you pull out page 2 and 3 and 4 because they thought the history or the rule, you know, they didn't want that to politically change the message. So it's really like censorship is worse because eventually it will come up that this mattered.
True.
Have you seen the new Cinderella?
No, I haven't.
Google the new Cinderella.
Oh, goodness, why?
What do you call it? Fairy godmother. Check out who the fairy godmother is right there. Yeah. It's pro tip or hint. It is a fairy godmother is the idea.
Okay.
No, is that it? No. It's a black man. Is the new
Is
fairy
this it?
godmother?
Is this it?
I think that might be it. And yeah, the new fairy. Yeah, in Cinderella.
It looks like a man.
Yeah, it's a transvestite, or I'm not sure what they're referred to. I hope that's okay. Actually,
Who knows anymore.
Right, but you know, whomever they are, it's you know, a person of color. It's a person who identifies as LGBTQ.
Yeah.
And they are going to play the fairy godmother, which is great. But the thing is, it also is upsetting a lot of, you know, what we call feminist TERFs, which are women who are biologically women who've advocated for women for 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
And so they're seeing...
I think it's a lot longer than that.
Well, some of these people have only been alive for so long.
True. But
Yeah,
the movement has been going for a long time.
Absolutely. Yeah, but the third wave feminists are the ones who we look at now and say, okay, we don't know about the transgendering of women because we want to represent biological women. They become natalists and all these other terms for them.
Yeah.
But they're the ones who are kind of scared about this because this is encroaching not just in sports now, but even in the idea of the fairy godmother. You know, it's taking away all of their roles. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But it's doing what they want, you know.
I mean, this stuff is getting ridiculous. Like, look at this. The University of Illinois is now condemning the use of digital blackface,
Oof.
or when non-black individuals use GIFs or emojis featuring black people. And I saw this, and I'm like, it's almost like they're trying to convince the world that black people are different.
Right.
But they're different. They can't. What did I say? I said
Their feelings.
What? Because black people can't represent human emotions that anyone can connect to.
Wow.
Because, like, for example, like this guy, all right, I see him all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, use your brain.
I identify with this.
I
guy.
identify with it also. Like, I see that because so many people are like dropping bombs, and then they're like, you think about that one, and it's
Right.
like, I get that look. That's a human being that I see, that I connect with, that I'm like, I'm going to share that because he is portraying something that I can relate to. Just because he's different skin color, I'm not allowed to relate to him anymore, or he can't, like, no one is allowed to.
That's terrifying.
That's terrifying.
Think about what it means. Essentially, is they're saying that anyone's experiences now, you're not allowed to relate to them. They're trying to separate us in as many ways as possible
Yep.
into this hierarchy where we don't know each other and
Yep.
we're not allowed to understand each other. Now, I don't know, but when I was a kid in kindergarten, the whole deal was trying to teach us how to understand each other. So I find this mind blowing.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
the lack of being able to use memes, especially. Like, think
Yeah.
about what a meme is. We were talking about earlier. You can't steal a meme, right?
No,
like, you
you-
have to share the meme.
Yeah, memes have to be stolen before they become a meme.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
yeah.
like part of being it's the meme in the final stamp of life.
Yeah.
Like, and it is now a meme.
Yeah.
Now that it's been stolen.
So, I mean, like, and if you think about, like, cultural appropriation, yesterday we're having Forrest Cooper here from Recoil magazine, and he
Okay.
was saying, you know, his wife, who's Ojibwa, that's a kind of native tribe, they didn't have a writing system. They have a very interesting singing oral history, but they didn't have a
Interesting.
writing system. So theoretically, anytime she's using writing, he's joking with her, it's cultural appropriation. So, I mean, when are we going to allow ourselves to get back to that idea of fusion, of working together, of cappuccino economy, where we can create new ideas and work together again?
Yeah, when is that going to be the case?
I wonder.
I don't know. Like Aunt Jemima here?
Oh no.
Aunt Jemima.
Vapor Sharia.
You know what Aunt Jemima is now?
Vapor Sharia.
Pearl Milling Company.
They might as well have called it White Pearl Milling Company. I mean, like, what is this
Pearl
Milling?
Milling Company. You know what? When I saw Aunt Jemima, I was like, you know what? They're not even allowed to be, on packaging anymore.
So sad for their family.
Why not? But there's Mr. Clean is still there.
For now.
What's wrong with it? I see Aunt Jemima and I'm like, she looks like a pleasant, happy, smiling human being.
They're getting rid of all of them, though. I think Mr. Clean will be one of, I hate to jinx it, but like
so
one of the next
so
to
no
go.
one's allowed to be a mascot.
Right.
No,
Ever
nobody.
since- this is like what, you know about Sharia law and Muhammad, that no one's allowed to emulate not just Muhammad, but the human form.
Huh.
So what they want to do, if you looked at like in the Taliban, there's photos of like people going by markets and the hair dye that they have.
No, I don't know this.
The hair dye will have all of the faces of the women sharpied out so you can't see their faces and just have the different colored hairs. And this is where we're going. We're going to a place where human form will be offensive.
This is ridiculous.
It is, but it seems like the only way for them to destroy our culture completely.
Everyone's culture.
Yeah, all of the culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the weird thing is, a lot of it is about breaking up what is a united thing. Like you said, I think Teilhard Chardin, one of my favorite physicists and philosophers, said, we are not humans having the spiritual experience. We are spirit having the human experience. And so often we're looking at it like, oh, we're divided by these things. These are such material divisions that we're talking about. We're talking about the most material divisions now. Things like the color of you, really? Like in a rainbow spectrum reality, like, I mean, you are you're colorblind, right? Like you're the person who sees people who they are.
Literally, though.
Literally.
I am actually colorblind. It's
Yeah.
not in like the... I'm not racist.
But in a weird way,
I don't
you aren't
see
also.
colors.
But you also are like not racist. Like you just kind of identify people as people who make their own choices.
And yet these people out there probably consider me racist because I'm against critical race theory.
Well, also
because I'm against all of this stuff.
Because you're for more than what you're against. Because you're for
Yeah.
advocating for the human spirit, regardless of all of these material divisions.
Exactly.
I mean, you're like, this guy made these choices. I like that. This
Yes.
person made those choices. I don't know about that.
Yes.
Oh man.
Choice privilege. Choice privilege.
Yeah.
People don't talk about that.
No.
Making the right choices is a privilege.
Yeah.
That people don't think they even have anymore.
Yeah, it's where honor comes
And
from.
every single time they quote Martin Luther King Jr., and I'm like, oh, you don't even understand his teachings.
Not even once.
He said we cannot look at the characteristics that people cannot change. And that's what they're telling us to do. We must solely focus on the things, these characteristics that people can't change. Why?
Even Malcolm X, who started out being like, you know, we need to advocate for our own people because we're a separated people. We've been treated this way, so this perpetuation exists. Even he ended up by saying, let me get out of this paradigm and go somewhere else and pray with people to the same thing, which is, you know, through different people that have different colored hairs and eyes, all different kinds of people, but we come to a new nation, a new idea, a new ideology.
Whoa. Unity? Whoa.
Yeah, that's
whoa.
why he got assassinated.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, we can't have people coming together. We can't have people uniting and being, you know, recognizing that we're all human beings, that we're strong together.
The only way to suppress democracy, like if you think about what's more powerful than a nuclear bomb as a weapon, it's democracy. George Bush brought democracy to destroy a nation, right? Because the majority mob can then destroy any minority.
Democracy.
Right? And you can take away any self-determination of any smaller group. So the weapon is used by, like, the trigger pulling is kyriarchy. And kyriarchy is the thing which divides you up into these smaller and smaller groups. So that you can never have more than 49%. If any time people have 51%, then it becomes violent. So you have to have these multi-partisan breakups and schisms.
How do we break that, you know? Like, how do we rise above and be like, you know what? Powers that be, I don't care.
Well, media has to shift to more shows like yours, you know, shows that are less about debate and more that are about conference and trying to find a shared lens.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have to try to unite.
Yep. Thank you. I agree. We got to get more people out there to talk about this kind of stuff right here. All right. I'm over it. I'm over it.
Process that.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. Like, we can sit and talk about this. I feel like I talk about it way too much. And someone even hit me up on Twitter today. They're like, you know what? I followed you because you don't like Biden, but you talk about Biden all the time. I'm unfollowing. And I'm like, okay, you know, he's the president right now. You know, he's making now he's actually in charge. You don't think I'm going to talk about him more?
Yeah.
And critique him and say, look at what this guy is doing? Like, what do you do? Go shove your head in the sand for 3 years while this guy practically ruins the country / the world, because that's what's happening right now.
But it does help to look at what we're doing abroad right now. I mean, it's fascinating. All of these things are synchronizing together. Everything from, you know, bringing finances to financing Palestine. Biden was the one to start financing Palestine again.
$230 million.
Just a couple months ago. And so it's interesting to watch how this happens, how to watch the oil, how to watch the trading.
And now he just sold Israel like $700 million in weapons.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know if
like,
you guys...
what?
Do you ever watch IDEX? Do you watch
what is that?
So in Jordan, there's an Arab emirate, and also in UAE, you know, they have the United Arab Emirate. They have a gun expo or a trade expo for weapons. And so what happens is the American corporations that make guns, all these military contracted Lockheed-like companies, the drones and trucks but all these little ones you haven't heard of either. They all go there and they sell all this stuff directly. And so there's like a level of proxy between the government's money here to these corporations building the weapons and then them going abroad and selling them to this level of proxy to these other states. So it's pretty interesting to see who has these major weapons and weapons you don't even know exist, really. You know?
I'm sure. I don't even want to know about that.
Well, that's what's been going on. Like, that was February. Yep. So if you think about what's happened, it's nice to see kind of a timeline.
I mean, the guy canceled our pipeline. Right, but now quietly just agreed to let Russia build a pipeline from Russia down into Germany through the Baltic Sea.
Yeah.
And it's like, how is this okay? Like, why is it okay for other people? Why are they trying to build a pipeline from the Middle East up through Syria into Turkey? It's like, why are these pipelines okay in other places? Why is it okay for other people to have low environmental protections, but not here? I mean, we have really good environmental protections, but why isn't anyone calling out China for being the #1 polluter in the world by 3 times at least? It's crazy.
Because our president's a Russian bot, basically.
Is that what you think?
Yeah. BOUGHT.
A Russian bot?
Yeah.
You think he's a bot to Russia?
He's bought by Russia.
You think Russia has purchased Biden? I mean, it's not China, Russia?
I mean, both of them clearly have major stakes in Canada and the United States.
Okay, but you're making the claim that Biden is bought and sold.
Almost any politician is bought and sold. Isn't that what it means to be a politician?
Well, of all the politicians that I've looked up
Yeah.
and researched over the past year, he's the only one that someone asked, "What do you think about the corrupt politicians?" And his response was, "How do you know I'm not one of them?"
That's pretty good.
I'm not joking. He said that. That was his actual response.
See, it's nice that we picked usually we pick the lesser of two evils. I like how we went with the more of two evils this time because it's more sinister. It's interesting.
Well, because they had everybody convinced that he was the lesser of two evils.
That's terrifying.
People are convinced that was the way to go.
I kind of think though, I think the truth is, you look at people like my mom who voted against Trump at the first time, and the second time around, they were thinking, we don't need a nice guy. We need a mean guy, just like they've got. Somebody who's meaner even, someone who's more Trumpy than Trump. And so Biden's he doesn't come off as that nice of a guy. He comes off as kind of
like an a-hole, man.
Not just that, he comes off as this kind of mobster from Pennsylvania attitude that he cleans up crime the dirty way. He'll fight dirty
I'm
to
gonna
win.
fight crime with crime.
Yeah, sometimes you don't want to be the most good because the world's so evil. So
Yeah.
they were thinking to themselves, okay, we lost because we were too goody two shoes. We need someone who's more, and yeah, they got it. They sure got they made a bargain with the devil, and they got it.
Well,
Hypothetically.
let's leave it at that.